The sleek diplomatic vessel slid into orbit around Nexus Station, the headquarters of the Galactic Council. Inside, Ambassador Daniel Clark adjusted his formal attire, trying to hide his nervousness. After decades of distant observations and intercepted signals, humanity was finally making official first contact with the galactic community. "Ambassador, we're cleared for docking," said his aide, Samantha Green. "Council representatives will meet us at the reception chamber." Daniel nodded, gazing out at the massive structure. Nexus Station resembled a gleaming metal flower with petals extending outward, each housing different alien species. The central hub contained the council chambers where representatives from over 200 civilizations gathered to maintain galactic peace. "Any last-minute intelligence?" Daniel asked. "Just the briefing we received. The Valaxians have expressed concerns about our inclusion, but most other species seem cautiously optimistic." The docking proceeded smoothly. When the airlock opened, Daniel led the small human delegation into a wide corridor with high ceilings. 3 aliens waited for them. A tall, blue-skinned humanoid with 4 arms, a floating gelatinous being contained within a mechanical suit, and a feathered reptilian creature with intelligent eyes. "Welcome to Nexus Station," said the blue being in perfect English. "I am Meridian, Council Liaison. Your language adaptation has been programmed into the station's systems for your comfort." Daniel performed the practiced greeting gesture. "On behalf of Earth and humanity, we thank you for this invitation." The delegation was escorted through magnificent halls filled with diverse alien species. Many stopped to observe the humans, some with curiosity, others with clear apprehension. The council chamber itself was a vast amphitheater with rising tiers of seating. Representatives from dozens of species occupied their designated areas, creating a tapestry of colors and forms. At the center stood a raised platform, where the 7 high counselors presided. "The council recognizes Earth's representatives," announced the chief counselor, a tall avian being with iridescent plumage. "Step forward and present your credentials." As Daniel addressed the assembly, he noticed the insectoid Valaxians chittering among themselves. Their representative, a mantis-like being with compound eyes, eventually rose to speak. "The Valaxian collective has concerns about human inclusion," the translator conveyed. "Their historical records show aggressive territorial expansion, internal conflicts, and rapid weapons development. Is such a species ready for galactic citizenship?" Murmurs spread through the chamber. Daniel prepared to defend humanity, but before he could speak, another counselor intervened. "Every emerging species has its violent periods," said Counselor Zarkvesh of the Akrelian Empire, his scaled face impassive. "Humans have shown remarkable progress in recent decades. Their creativity and adaptability could benefit us all." After hours of debate, the Council granted Earth limited membership status with restricted trading rights. Daniel considered it a diplomatic victory. At the reception afterward, Lisa Martinez, the delegation's xenobiologist, approached Daniel with an elderly alien in tow. The being had pale, translucent skin and 3 milky eyes. "Ambassador, this is Diplomat Vexera of the Traxian Conclave," Lisa said. "He specifically asked to meet you." The ancient alien leaned close to Daniel. "We Traxians have observed your kind from afar for centuries," he whispered, his translator crackling. "A word of caution that I share from experience. Humans possess a unique quality in warfare, adaptability that becomes mastery. Remember this warning to share with your council friends. Never involve humans in your wars." Before Daniel could ask for clarification, the Traxian shuffled away, leaving the ambassador puzzled. "What was that about?" Lisa asked. "I'm not sure," Daniel replied, watching the elder disappear into the crowd. "But something tells me we should remember his words." As the reception continued, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's entrance onto the galactic stage would not be as simple as they had hoped. 5 years after Earth's introduction to the Galactic Council, Captain Aaron Foster stood on the bridge of the Earth diplomatic vessel Endeavour, watching a battle unfold through the main view screen. His mission had been simple: represent Earth's interests in a disputed star system along the frontier between the Akrelian Empire and the Valaxian Collective. The mission had turned complicated when they arrived to find Akrelian warships bombarding a Valaxian mining colony. "Keep our shields up but weapons powered down," Aaron ordered his crew. "Record everything. The Council needs to see this." The Endeavor maintained a safe distance as emerald beams from Akrelian cruisers sliced through Valaxian defenses. The insectoid species had established the colony on an asteroid rich in rare minerals, but the Akrelians claimed the entire system fell within their historical territory. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Akrelian flagship," reported Communications Officer Melissa Ward. The screen shifted to show Commander Traskell, his scaled face illuminated by red emergency lighting. "Earth vessel, this is a sovereign matter. The Valaxians invaded our territory. We are simply defending our borders." Aaron kept his expression neutral. "Commander, this system is listed as unclaimed in Council records. We're here as neutral observers." "Not anymore," came the reply before the transmission cut. Within days, both powers had submitted formal complaints to the Galactic Council. The Grand Chamber buzzed with tension as representatives gathered for an emergency session. Ambassador Daniel Clark, now a veteran diplomat, sat with the Earth delegation. The Akrelian Empire acted in self-defense against Valaxian encroachment, declared the Akrelian representative. The mining colony was a military installation disguised as civilian operation. The Valaxian diplomat's antennae quivered in agitation. "Falsehoods. Our colony was established in neutral space with Council documentation. The unprovoked attack killed 200 workers." From her seat behind the ambassador, Lieutenant Olivia Wong studied data on her tablet. As the Earth delegation's intelligence analyst, she had been examining both claims carefully. "Ambassador," she whispered, leaning forward, "something doesn't add up. The Akrelian attack came exactly 53 hours after the colony established its communication array, but their fleet would have needed at least 4 days to mobilize and reach the system from their nearest base." Daniel nodded slightly. "You think they planned this?" "I think they were already positioned for attack before the colony was even operational." As the debate continued, Daniel requested permission to address the Council. When granted, he spoke carefully. "Honorable Council, while Earth takes no position on territorial rights, we have evidence suggesting the Akrelian response was premeditated, not defensive. Their battle fleet was in position before the alleged provocation occurred." The chamber erupted in voices. The Akrelian diplomat hissed denials, while the Valaxian representative clicked rapidly in validation. Later that evening, Lieutenant Wong continued analyzing data in the Earth Embassy. She uncovered encoded transmissions between Akrelian ships days before the attack. When she decrypted a partial message, her eyes widened. "Operation Provoke," she read aloud. "They wanted this conflict." She immediately brought her findings to Captain Foster, who was conferring with the ambassador. "It gets worse," Aaron said grimly. "The Valaxians are mobilizing their main fleet. They're interpreting the Council's indecision as permission to retaliate." Daniel rubbed his temples. "We need to maintain neutrality, but this could destabilize the entire sector." Before they could discuss further, a message arrived from the Valaxian embassy requesting an urgent private meeting with Earth representatives. "They're asking specifically for you, Captain," Daniel said, reading the message. "They say it concerns tactical consultation." Aaron's expression darkened. "I don't like where this is heading." "Neither do I," the ambassador replied. "But we need to hear them out. Just remember what that old Traxian told me 5 years ago." "About not involving humans in alien wars?" Aaron asked. Daniel nodded solemnly. "I have a feeling we're about to understand why he said it." Captain Aaron Foster and Ambassador Daniel Clark were escorted through the dimly lit corridors of the Valaxian embassy. The insectoid aliens preferred low lighting and higher humidity than humans found comfortable. They were led to a secure chamber where High Commander Vixthar waited, his compound eyes reflecting the limited light. "Thank you for coming discreetly," the Valaxian said, mandibles clicking softly as the translator converted his speech. "What I propose must remain between our species for now." Daniel maintained a diplomatic posture. "We're listening, Commander. The Akrelians have superior numbers and technology. Their cruisers outmatch our vessels in direct combat." The alien's antennae twitched nervously. "But we've studied your species. Humans have a unique gift for warfare. You win even when outmatched." Aaron shifted uncomfortably. "We've spent considerable effort moving beyond our warlike past. Yet you succeeded in conflicts against superior forces throughout your history," Vixthar insisted. "We don't ask for weapons or ships. We request military advisors, humans who understand asymmetric warfare." Back at the Earth Embassy, the request sparked heated debate. John Miller, the military attaché, paced the conference room. "This could be an opportunity to gain valuable allies," John argued. "The Valaxians control key resource systems that Earth needs access to." Amanda Davis, the diplomatic counsel, shook her head. "Getting involved in a conflict between two established galactic powers could damage our standing with the Council. We're still newcomers here." "What about a compromise?" suggested Aaron. "Limited advisory support, no direct combat involvement, and full transparency with the Council about our role." Daniel considered this carefully. "The Traxian warning still concerns me, but refusing to help could push the Valaxians toward more desperate allies." 3 days later, the Galactic Council officially declared neutrality in the conflict, urging both powers to seek mediation. Meanwhile, Earth's government approved a limited advisory mission to Volax Prime. Major Frank Cooper led the first team of 12 military consultants to the Valaxian homeworld. A veteran of Earth's last regional conflict, he specialized in guerrilla tactics and force multiplication. "Your ships engage like ancient sailing vessels," Frank explained to Valaxian commanders. Pointing to battle simulations, "You form lines and exchange fire until one side breaks. Against superior Akrelian firepower, you'll always lose this way." Instead, he taught them human tactics, ambushes, hit-and-run attacks, and coordinated strikes against supply lines rather than warships. The Valaxians proved to be apt students, their hive-mind approach to problem-solving, quickly adapting human strategies to their own capabilities. Within weeks, news reached Earth of surprising Valaxian victories. Small squadrons devastated Akrelian supply convoys. Planetary defenses were bypassed using unpredictable jump patterns Frank had suggested. The Akrelians, accustomed to formal space combat, found themselves frustrated by what they called dishonorable tactics. Valaxian commanders began referring to their new approach as the human method. Their success did not go unnoticed. At the council, the Akrelian ambassador confronted Daniel after a session. "We know what you're doing," he said, scales flushing with anger. "Teaching primitives to fight like vermin rather than warriors." "Earth has no official involvement in the conflict," Daniel replied carefully. "Then you won't object when we seek similar consultations." With that, the Akrelian departed. That evening, an urgent message reached the embassy. The Akrelian Empire had formally requested military advisors from Earth. "They're putting us in an impossible position," Daniel told his staff. "If we refuse, we appear to be taking sides. If we agree, we're actively helping both sides of a war." "Either way," Aaron said grimly, "humans are becoming the most dangerous weapon in this conflict, just as the Traxian warned." In her office, scientist Kelly Peterson was researching council archives when she discovered something disturbing. "Ambassador," she called over the comm system, "I found historical references to humans. Not our humans, but beings remarkably similar to us from another galaxy. And there's a pattern to what happened when they got involved in alien wars." Daniel felt a chill. What pattern? Every civilization that recruited them eventually collapsed. Captain Ryan Harris stepped onto the bridge of the Akrelian dreadnought Eternal Flame, trying to hide his discomfort as the reptilian crew turned their yellow eyes toward him. The air was hot and dry, optimized for Akrelian biology. 3 months ago, He had been teaching military history at the Earth Defense Academy. Now he was leading a team of advisors helping the Akrelian Empire fight a war. The Valaxian patrol follows the same route each cycle, Ryan explained to Admiral Zextor, pointing to the tactical display. But they've started using a scattered formation based on human naval tactics from our 21st century. I recommend we adapt our approach accordingly. The Admiral growled in frustration. These cowardly insect tactics dishonor the ancient traditions of space combat. We should meet them in direct confrontation and continue losing ships at the current rate. Ryan asked bluntly. The Valaxians have human advisors too. We need to counter them with better human strategies, not just stronger weapons. Reluctantly, the Akrelians began implementing Ryan's suggestions. Their massive warships were reconfigured for rapid deployment rather than formation battles. Crew training shifted toward independent action instead of centralized command. Back on Earth, the Defense Council received reports from both fronts. General Laura Bennett studied the data with growing concern. Both sides are rapidly adopting human military doctrine, she told the assembled officials. The Valaxians are using guerrilla tactics while the Akrelians have embraced our concepts of combined arms warfare. Casualty rates have tripled in the past month. Defense Secretary William Rodriguez frowned. What began as advisory support has evolved into proxy war with humans effectively commanding both sides. At the Galactic Council, tensions were escalating. The Novali delegation, a peaceful aquatic species, called for an emergency session. This conflict has grown beyond a border dispute, their ambassador declared, tentacles waving in agitation. Human military influence has transformed a limited engagement into potential sector-wide destruction. We demand Earth withdraw all advisors immediately. Ambassador Daniel Clark faced mounting pressure from multiple species. After the session, he found scientist Kelly Peterson waiting outside his office, her expression grave. I've completed my analysis of the archives, she said, handing him a data tablet. There are 23 documented cases of species similar to humans being recruited for warfare by advanced civilizations. In every instance, the pattern is identical. Which is? Daniel asked, scanning the data. Initial success for whoever recruits them, followed by escalation as others seek the same advantage. Then the human advisors assume greater control, bringing in more of their kind. Finally, the conflict expands beyond original objectives until what? Until the humans become the dominant military power, and both original combatants are significantly weakened or destroyed. Daniel looked up sharply. You believe these records refer to our ancestors? No, Kelly replied. The timeline is wrong, and genetic markers don't match, but the behavioral patterns are identical. It's as if the galaxy has seen our type before. On the Valaxian front, Major Frank Cooper was no longer merely advising. He now directed fleet movements from the command center on Volax Prime. What had begun as tactical suggestions had evolved into operational control as the Valaxians deferred increasingly to human expertise. Similarly, Captain Ryan Harris found himself planning entire campaigns for the Akrelian forces. Earth corporations, seeing opportunity, began selling specialized weapons technology to both sides through intermediaries. At the council, Elder Xanthril, one of the oldest members representing the ancient Zorlian collective, requested a private meeting with Ambassador Clark. Your kind has walked this path before, the elder said, his withered face solemn. Not you specifically, but beings like you. The pattern is clear to those who have studied galactic history. When humans enter others' wars, they do not remain advisors for long. What are you suggesting? Daniel asked. That a formal warning must be issued before it's too late for all involved. 8 months into the conflict, the war between the Akrelians and Valaxians had transformed from a border dispute into a full-scale interstellar war. What began as a struggle over a single star system now engulfed 17 systems across 3 sectors. The casualty reports crossed Major Frank Cooper's desk each morning, and the numbers had long since stopped shocking him. The Acrelians have adapted to our hit-and-run tactics, Frank told his Valaxian commanders. We need to shift strategies again. I recommend we target their fuel processing stations in the Nebulon sector. The senior Valaxian clicked his mandibles in agreement. Your wisdom guides us, War Director Cooper. Frank paused at the title. When had he stopped being an advisor and become a director of war? He couldn't pinpoint the exact moment, but the transition had been seamless. Similar reports came from the Acrelian side, where Captain Ryan Harris now commanded an entire battle group. On Earth, the Defense Council met in emergency session. Holographic displays showed the expanding conflict zone. Both sides are now operating with tactics and strategies entirely developed by our advisors, reported General Laura Bennett. Earth weapons manufacturers have received orders worth billions from both empires. Secretary Rodriguez leaned forward. The Council has formally censured Earth for escalating the conflict. 3 neutral systems have cut diplomatic ties with us. Perhaps more concerning, added Intelligence Officer Natalie Wright, both the Acrelians and Valaxians have begun conscripting civilians from border worlds. They're treating this as an existential war rather than a territorial dispute. At Nexus Station, Ambassador Daniel Clark faced the most difficult session of his diplomatic career. Elder Xanthril of the Zorlian Collective stood before the assembled council, his ancient voice carrying surprising strength. I formally move that Earth be sanctioned for its role in this catastrophic conflict, the elder announced. History shows us the danger of human military involvement. Their tactics know no moderation, their strategies no restraint. They have transformed a manageable dispute into potential genocide. Daniel requested the right to respond. Earth has provided only advisory support at the request of sovereign powers. We have no combat forces in the region. Yet human consultants now direct fleet movements on both sides, countered Xanthril. Your corporations arm both combatants with increasingly deadly weapons. This is the pattern that has repeated throughout galactic history whenever beings like yours are involved in warfare. Back at the human embassy, Engineer Paul Wilson was working late, analyzing intercepted Acrelian communications. His specialization in alien encoding patterns had made him invaluable to the diplomatic mission. As he decrypted the latest transmission, his blood ran cold. Ambassador, he called urgently over the secure channel. The Acrelians are planning a strike against our colony on Proxima Centauri. They believe destroying human assets will force us to commit fully to their side. Before Daniel could respond, another alert came through. Kelly Peterson had detected similar plans in Valaxian communications. Both sides are targeting us. Daniel asked in disbelief. It appears they've reached the same conclusion independently, Kelly replied. They believe if they attack Earth interests, we'll be forced to declare war against the other side. Or they're trying to ensure we don't switch our support, Paul suggested. Either way, Earth colonies are now in danger. That evening, Daniel received a visitor in his private office aboard Nexus Station. Elder Xanthril arrived unannounced, his 3 attendants waiting outside. I came not to argue, but to warn, the ancient alien said. The pattern is completing itself faster than anticipated. Both the Acrelians and Valaxians now see controlling humanity as the key to victory. What would you have us do? Daniel asked, frustration evident in his voice. What your kind always does when threatened, Xanthril replied. Fight. But remember, when humans enter conflicts, they rarely leave them the same as they found them. As the elder departed, Daniel received an emergency transmission from Earth. Several Acrelian and Valaxian warships had broken from their battle groups and were heading toward human space. The emergency alert echoed through the halls of Earth's Unified Defense Command headquarters in Geneva. Admiral Sharon Baker strode quickly into the Situation Room, where military and civilian leaders had gathered around a holographic display showing the approaching alien vessels. 12 Acrelian warships and 9 Valaxian battle cruisers have altered course toward our colonies, reported the tactical officer. They're maintaining communication silence and ignoring hails from our border stations. Secretary Rodriguez turned to Admiral Baker. Options. Limited, she replied grimly. Our fleet is spread thin, protecting colonies. We don't have enough ships to defend against both forces simultaneously. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth had carefully maintained military neutrality while providing advisors to both sides. Now that calculated balance was collapsing. There is one option, Admiral Baker said finally, but it's controversial. Operation Clearfield. Several officers exchanged uneasy glances. The operation had been developed as a contingency, but never seriously considered for implementation. Explain, ordered the secretary. Instead of defending our colonies, we take the fight to them. We recall all military advisors immediately and deploy our entire fleet in a single coordinated strike against both Akrelian and Valaxian military installations, not their civilian targets, just their military capacity. Attack both sides at once. Someone asked incredulously. Admiral Baker nodded. They'd drawn us into their war. Now we show them how humans really fight when threatened. After 6 hours of intense debate, Earth's leadership made its decision. Commander Eric Powell received the coded orders aboard the Earth Defense Fleet flagship Intrepid. All ships, this is Commander Powell. Operation Clearfield is authorized. Primary targets are military installations only. Civilian populations are to be avoided at all costs. We strike simultaneously in 12 hours. The Earth fleet moved with precision that surprised even their own commanders. Ships that had been scattered across human space converged through hyperspace jumps, appearing simultaneously near key Akrelian and Valaxian military bases. On the Akrelian command station orbiting Veros Prime, General Kralvex received alarming reports from multiple sectors. Human vessels are attacking our shipyards at Torax, our fuel depots at Zenith Station, and our fleet headquarters here. An officer reported, scales paling with shock. Impossible, the general snarled. They cannot be in all these places at once. But they were. The human fleet had divided into strike teams, each targeting strategic military assets with surgical precision. Their ships moved in formations never before seen in galactic warfare, combining speed with coordinated firing patterns that overwhelmed defensive systems. At the Valaxian hive world of Sectus II, Supreme Commander Tixera watched in horror as human vessels neutralized their orbital defense grid in under 20 minutes. They were our advisors. The commander chittered to his subordinates. They know all our tactics, all our weaknesses. On Nexus Station, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Ambassador Daniel Clark stood before the assembled representatives, his expression resolute. Earth did not choose this conflict, he declared. We provided advisory support at the request of sovereign powers. Now those same powers have targeted our colonies and citizens. Our response is proportionate and limited to military targets only. The council chamber erupted in shouted objections and accusations. Above the din, Commander Powell's transmission was broadcast to all council representatives. This is Commander Eric Powell of the Earth Defense Fleet to all galactic powers. His voice rang clear. Both the Akrelian Empire and Valaxian Collective have threatened Earth colonies. Our response targets only military installations. We seek no territory, no surrender, no concessions. Once all forces threatening Earth interests stand down, we will withdraw immediately. He paused, his next words entering galactic diplomatic history. You brought us into this. Now we'll end it our way. Within 36 hours, the Earth fleet had neutralized 60% of both empires' military capabilities. Unlike the drawn-out war of attrition the two powers had been fighting, the human strikes were fast, decisive, and overwhelming. By the third day, both the Akrelian Emperor and the Valaxian Queen Matriarch had transmitted formal requests for ceasefire negotiations, not to the Galactic Council, but directly to Earth. 1 month after Operation Clearfield, a tense peace prevailed in the disputed territories. Human patrol ships monitored the buffer zone established between Akrelian and Valaxian space. The once mighty fleets of both empires remained in their home systems, many of their military installations still undergoing repairs. In a converted cargo bay aboard Nexus Station, representatives from Earth, the Akrelian Empire, and the Valaxian Collective gathered around a circular table. Ambassador Nicole Wright, who had replaced Daniel Clark after his retirement, studied the final draft of the peace agreement. "The terms are clear," she stated. "Both powers will withdraw all claims to the contested systems. These worlds will become autonomous under Council protection for 50 years, after which their populations may vote on alignment." The Akrelian diplomat, his scales now a subdued gray rather than their usual vibrant red, signed the document without comment. The Valaxian representative followed, antennae drooping slightly in what humans had learned was an expression of resignation. "The treaty is sealed," declared the Council mediator. "May this peace endure." As the delegates dispersed, Admiral Sharon Baker approached Nicole in the corridor outside. "Operation Clearfield has been officially completed," she reported. "Our vessels are returning to human space as promised." Nicole nodded, and our advisors. All recalled, though both sides have already approached us about training programs for their military. "Which we will politely decline," Nicole replied firmly. "We've learned our lesson about getting involved in others' conflicts." Later that week, the full Galactic Council convened for its regular session. The normally chaotic assembly fell silent when Elder Xanthril requested the floor. The ancient alien moved slowly to the central podium, assisted by his attendants. For centuries, this council has governed without understanding a fundamental truth of galactic politics. He began, his voice carrying surprising strength. "We have now witnessed what the ancient records warned. When beings like humans enter warfare, they do not simply participate. They master it." Murmurs spread through the chamber as he continued. "I propose a new addition to galactic law. No species shall recruit, employ, or otherwise involve humans in interspecies conflicts. Not because they are untrustworthy, but because their involvement fundamentally transforms the nature of warfare in ways few comprehend until too late." After limited debate, the measure passed with overwhelming support. Only Earth and a few of its closest allies abstained. As representatives filed out, the Traxian diplomat who had warned Daniel Clark years earlier approached Nicole. "Your people did exactly as the histories foretold," he said quietly. "When threatened, you did not choose sides. You dominated both." "We sought only to protect our colonies," Nicole replied. "Of course, just as those like you always have." He tilted his head curiously. "Do you know why species keep recruiting humans for their wars despite the historical warnings?" When Nicole shook her head, he continued, "Because each believes they will be the exception, the one who harnesses human military brilliance without being consumed by it. They never are." 3 months later, Earth proposed its own initiative to the Council. Ambassador Nicole Wright stood before the assembled galactic representatives to present it. "Earth recognizes its unique position in galactic security matters," she began. "Rather than allowing this to remain a source of instability, we propose the establishment of a human peacekeeping force under direct Council oversight." Her proposal detailed a specialized force that would operate only with majority Council approval, designed specifically for crisis intervention and humanitarian missions rather than taking sides in conflicts. "We cannot change what we are," she concluded, "but we can channel our abilities toward maintaining peace rather than enabling war." As the Council debated this unexpected offer, 2 Novali diplomats conversed quietly in their native tongue. "The humans have turned the Council's fear into an opportunity," said one. "Indeed," replied the other. "They've reminded me of the ancient saying, 'In war, there are no winners, except humans.'" Across the chamber, Nicole caught the eye of Elder Xanthril. The ancient alien inclined his head slightly in what might have been respect. The lesson had been learned, though whether it would be remembered by future generations remained to be seen. For now, the stars were quiet, and humanity had found its unexpected place in the galactic order, not as conquerors or victims, but as the galaxy's reluctant peacekeepers. 10 years after the formation of the human peacekeeping force, the Galactic Council had grown accustomed to a new era of relative stability. The HPF, as it was commonly known, operated from a massive space station in neutral territory, its distinctive white and blue vessels recognized throughout the galaxy as symbols of Council authority. Colonel Grace Miller walked through the command center of HPF Station Alpha, reviewing status reports from peacekeeping missions across 3 sectors. At 45, she had spent most of her military career in conventional Earth forces before transferring to the HPF 5 years ago. "Colonel, we have a situation developing in the Vega cluster," reported Lieutenant Ben Hayes, her tactical officer. "The Diraxian Mining Guild is threatening to destroy Meridian Colony over resource rights." Grace studied the holographic display. "Prepare Rapid Response Team 2. I want them ready to deploy in 3 hours." As she turned to leave, a priority message flashed on her personal communicator. The sender identification made her pause. General William Rodriguez, now Earth's senior representative to the Council. "Grace, we need to talk," the message read simply. They met in her private office overlooking the vast docking bay, where HPF vessels were being serviced. "The Council has been keeping something from Earth," William said without preamble after the security field activated. "Something Xanthril and the other elders have known all along. About the other human-like species in the historical records?" Grace asked. William looked surprised. "You know about that?" "Rumors. Nothing concrete. What's this about, General?" He placed a data crystal on her desk. 6 months ago, we discovered ancient ruins on Proxima Centauri V, predating human colonization by thousands of years. The writing was eventually translated. He pushed the crystal toward her. "It's human, Grace, an early form of Sanskrit." Grace stared at the crystal. "That's impossible. Humans evolved on Earth." "That's what we thought. But archaeological evidence now suggests otherwise. Humanity may have existed in this region of space long before Earth was habitable." The implications slowly dawned on her. "You're saying we're descendants of those earlier humans, the ones mentioned in the Council records, or possibly their genetic relatives. The DNA evidence is compelling. Some unknown catastrophe forced them back to a primitive state on Earth, where they evolved again, forgetting their interstellar past." Grace leaned back in her chair, trying to process this revelation. "Why tell me this now?" "Because the Council is voting tomorrow on expanding HPF jurisdiction. Some members are concerned that we're recreating the same military dominance pattern as our ancestors." He locked eyes with her. "They fear history repeating itself." The next day, Grace attended the Council session as William's advisor. The debate about HPF expansion had grown heated when Elder Xanthril requested to speak. "Before we vote," the ancient alien said, "we should acknowledge what many have suspected. Humans are not newcomers to the stars. Their ancestors once spanned many systems before a great war led to their downfall." Murmurs spread through the chamber as he continued. "Yet there is a crucial difference. Those ancestors used their military prowess to dominate through fear. Today's humans have chosen a different path, using their unique abilities to maintain peace rather than exploit conflict." Grace listened intently as the elder described how previous human-like civilizations had eventually collapsed after becoming mercenaries and warlords for hire across the galaxy. "The cycle need not repeat," Xanthril concluded. "The human peacekeeping force represents a new possibility, that humans might be peacekeepers rather than conquerors." After his speech, the Council voted overwhelmingly to expand HPF jurisdiction. Later, as Grace prepared to return to her station, Ambassador Nickel Wright joined her on the observation deck, overlooking the massive Council chamber. "Does it bother you?" Nickel asked. "Learning we might be descendants of a fallen galactic power." Grace considered the question carefully, watching the diverse species below engaged in the complex dance of galactic politics. "No," she replied finally. "It means we have a chance to get it right this time, to learn from their mistakes." As they looked out at the stars visible through the massive viewports, Grace added quietly, "The warning remains the same. Don't involve humans in your wars. But perhaps now it's because we've found a better purpose."